Do you even need me, or can we just get Ben in here? He's done enough for one season.
Probably David. Go ahead.
Joe, I imagine most of the best writers in here would struggle putting that into the words. Are you able to?
Nope. It's just ridiculous, wasn't it? We spoke this morning and we just said we want everyone to make sure that throughout the whole day we believe, and while we've got two blokes out there, we've got an opportunity to still win the game. But from the position that we found ourselves in, for Ben to play in that manner, and of course he had the experience of that World Cup final and been in that position before, but to do it in Test cricket where there's no restrictions on fields or bowler limitations, to have the calmness and the skill, the resilience and the belief in himself to get through that period, and the belief in Jack as well, is just phenomenal, really, to be able to pull off that. And of course we rode our luck at times, but we had some things go against us as well throughout the Test match, and sometimes you have to ride it, and it was just incredible to watch.
Yeah, Owen Morgan said after the World Cup final that Ben was almost superhuman. What adjective would you use to, or adjectives would you use to describe what he did today? I
think that sums it up perfectly. You know, he's a bit of a freak to be able to time and time again produce match-winning performances like that. And everyone will look at this innings and, of course, rightly so, say, you know, that was the reason we won this Test match. But he bowled pretty much 20 overs on the bounce with a night in between. That's an incredible achievement in itself. He had an incredible Test match on a personal front, and for us to now be sat here very much in this series, you know, potentially one run away from being out of it, is an amazing feeling, and it holds a lot of weight in our dressing room for sure.
Chris, and then we'll do Will and George and then Walt.
Joe, Headingley 81, Edgbaston 2005. I think you guys may have just topped it today. How much belief will it give you going into those final two tests?
A huge amount of belief. As I say, we always feel like we should never give up. I mean, the World Cup is a great example of that, and coming into this series shows that it's so important to always have faith and belief in each other, and you know, to be able to be sat here now and enjoy this win is very special. So it holds, as I say, it holds a lot of weight going into the next two games, and feel like momentum can be quite a big thing in series like this one, 5-match series. So hopefully we can ride that into Old Trafford and make sure that we play in the manner that we did in the second innings and not the first with the bat.
Given what happened on Friday, obviously bowled out for 67, and the fact that, you know, at that stage the Ashes looked like they were gone, does this even top what happened at Lord's in the World Cup final?
Very different in many ways, but I think what it does show is a huge amount of resilience and character and courage from the group to be able to respond from that, to come out and play in the way that we did when everything was against us today. And you know, at the start of that second innings, being 15 for 2, for us to find a way back into it, and then for Ben to play like that, wow! It was just, you look at the innings and 2 off 50 balls last night, making sure that he was there to take the game forward today, and then the way he approached that first session when the partnership with Johnny, he thought lunch probably came at the wrong time for us. We just started to really take momentum forward and put the game towards them a little bit. It was a great partnership. But to go through that run out as well with Joss, what seemed to be such a crucial moment in the game, to be able to put that behind him and still think as clearly as he did under pressure was huge for our chances of winning the series. So I'm going to struggle to put into words exactly what's happened, and I think I will for a long time. Yeah.
It was very noticeable that Ben didn't celebrate either his 50 or his 100, and then obviously let loose when he hit the winning runs. Is that what he's about as a cricketer? He just doesn't care about personal milestones. He sort of measures things in wins. And
he's the ultimate team man. You know, he'll do anything for every single one of your players. That's why he's a brilliant vice captain. You know, of course he's an intelligent cricketer, but he drags people with him. He's got so much respect within the dressing room, and you know, I'd say last night when things weren't going for us, when we got sloppy, you know, Jofra went off with some cramp. He stood up and you know, he couldn't get the ball out of his hand. He wanted to make sure he did everything he could to keep us in that Test match, and that's exactly what you want from your senior players, from your leaders. And he, you know, carried that forward in his innings today as well.
George and Lawrence.
Probably not the moment to ask about batting in some ways, but I'm going to. Your second innings batting was quite different to England's first innings batting. The way England bat generally, it was I don't know, a lot more cautious, a lot more Sir Geoffrey Boycott, and it really worked. Might that mean that we see England and you bat like that more often going forward?
I think let's talk about the first innings, because that's what you want me to talk about. Let's be honest. We were poor. We were very poor. Now, probably two guys can say that they were got out. Of course, it was bowler-friendly conditions. You know, it did seam around a bit, did move, but we weren't good enough. As simple as that. We all know that. Every single one of us in that dressing room knows that that's not adequate for Test cricket. But once that's happened, you've got to park it. You've got to find a way to stay in the game, and then you've got to believe that you can win the Test match. We knew at the toss, the conditions that were there and the history of this ground, having known it, playing here for a lot myself, wickets generally get better. So we knew that was in our favour, but we just knew we had to find a way to stay in the game for as long as we could. And the way that we approached that second innings was far more, probably a better template for us for sure. But it comes down to the same things. You've got to give yourself a chance to get in. You've got to build partnerships. And when sides like Australia, who've got a very good seam attack, backed up very, very well with a good spinner, you've got to take them deep. And that's exactly what we did second time round. So of course I think we learnt extremely quickly throughout the game in that respect. Of course the conditions did favour us slightly better, but you know, thankfully we're sat here having won the Test match, and it's a lot easier to pick apart an innings like that when you've won, you know, rather than be out of the series, and it looks very much different.
There were a couple of moments towards the end, there was that run out, looked like it was going to happen, then a big LBW shout that Hawkeye said would have been out if they'd had a review. Did you think in those two moments that you lost the game? What were the emotions in the dressing room?
To be honest, the emotions in the dressing room were all over the place for a long period of time before that. Once Ben started going, you knew, as I say, you always believed and you always thought, you know, while there's two guys there, we've definitely got a chance, especially with him and the way he can do freakish things like we all witnessed. But sorry, I've lost my train of thought with that. What was the question again?
It was about the run out and the LBW.
Yeah,
nerve-wracking that all must have been.
It just shows what pressure can do to people, or how different people react in certain situations. And it was almost as flashes of Alan Donald back in '99. But you know, whenever you find yourself in those scenarios and big games and big moments like that, you need luck on your side, and thankfully we rode it to a degree today. You can pick apart every bit of the Test match and say that at times they might have rode their luck as well, and because it's right at the back end and it determines the result in a way, it comes to the fore. But you know, is what it is. We've won the game.
With Sam, Dean, and I will finish with Stefan.
Joe, just trying to get, would love an insight into sort of how you and the other guys go watching that final 40 minutes. Who stays composed, who doesn't? How was the sort of the balcony?
Well, Joss had his shirt half on and off at one stage. I think he was trying to cover his face. Didn't really want to watch. We were trying to work out how Ben was going to play it. And basically got to a point where, like, it doesn't matter as long as he just trusts his instincts. We've got a chance. So, obviously, the closer it gets, the more nervy it gets in many respects, and the more excited you get. And games like that just make Test cricket the best. You know, you look at the atmosphere within the ground. Can't put it into words really. We were, at one point, Joss was covering his ears because Stuart was shouting, "He's gone for six! He's gone for six!" And you just can't fathom what's happened really. But incredible.
And just what does the next 12 hours entail?
We've got to enjoy this, but we've got to be in by 12, and we've got to make sure that we don't give you anything else to write about other than this game. But for sure, it's important that we enjoy what's probably part of Test history, one of Test history's finest games of cricket. Which had everything really, didn't it?
Dean and Stefan.
What do you think that this performance actually will do for both teams for the series? Because it was such a kind of crazy game. Do you feel as though you've grabbed something here, whether it's momentum or whatever it might be, or can you not really work in that way because it was so bizarre?
Well, it's as I say, it gives us a huge amount of belief and confidence, to find ourselves in that position and to come out winning the game. I'm not just talking about today and being 9 down with 73 or whatever it was to go, but to be 67 all out and win a game of cricket. Of course, it took a heroic, freakish effort from Ben to get us across the line, but for the whole group to manage to stay in the game from that period will hold a lot of weight, and it will carry forward into the next 2 games for sure. And in many ways, we weren't anywhere near where we want to be or where we expect to be. And that's just, in a slightly strange way, a slight positive that we can be so much better and find ways of winning games of cricket. So I say we showed a lot of heart, a lot of desire, a lot of pride in finding a way to get back into this game. And as always, it just shows how much Ashes cricket means to every single one of those guys, and how important it is that we're now very much in this series, and we have to, take that forward, carry that forward into Old Trafford.
Stefan? No, it's one more Stefan and one more.
I just wondered if you could talk about how you've been willed on over the past 2 days. You always get such great support from the England fans, but even yesterday when you were still 300 runs adrift, every boundary was getting a standing ovation, even a forward defensive was getting great applause. And today the cricket score's been read out at Tottenham's ground. They stopped play at the Ageas Bowl so they could watch the finale. Do you realise that how an Ashes series almost gets the whole nation behind you?
2005 is the example, isn't it? But games like that will change people's perception of cricket for sure. And the World Cup certainly did that in many ways, and I think this will as well in terms of Test cricket. I think it's a great advert for the game, great advert for this format, and for Ashes cricket as well. You look through the 4 days, the ups and downs, the way it's just completely, you couldn't really pick a winner at certain times. We felt like we had 12 men for the majority of this game. The crowd were just incredible. We've got the best fans in the world. They travel here, there and everywhere to watch us play, and the support is always well heard and well voiced. But this game in particular, Edgbaston, At the back end of Lords, it's been electric. It really has. It's made a huge difference to the group, and I'm sure Old Trafford will not disappoint. There's always a fantastic atmosphere in that ground, so it's great to see people enjoying the sport. It's great to see cricket grabbing the headlines, and it's great to see England win.
Pass the mic to the back. Last one from Miss John. Down to ask the last question.
Joe, you've talked about his batting and his bowling and his attitude. Is there anything that Ben Stokes is just not very good at?
His handwriting's terrible. There's many things, but his language isn't great either. Is it? No. At the minute, he seems to be able to do everything, doesn't he?
Brilliant. Thank you.
Cheers.